boy is dangerous.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see that I'm about to impact the world.
What's up, people? It's your boy Humble Dad. Welcome back to another edition of Humble Dad Podcast. We got a good one for you tonight. Why? Because I said so. The topic is about, can he be a good dad and mistreat their mother? And the reason why I came up with that topic is because there was an individual that was kind of talking bad about the mother of their children on social media. And however, they would consider themselves a good father. And so I say, you know what? I mean, I talk about dads and we talk about family here on the show. And so I want to see what people think about it. And everybody has their perspective. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to see what you think. And if you're in the comments, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to a G, you know what I'm saying? And help us with that. Without further ado, the question that we're going to start off with as the icebreaker this evening is, what is the best praise or advice you've received? What is the best praise or advice you receive? And we're going to start with the man that never has an answer, but always got something to say, Mr. Prototype.
You couldn't give me no time on this one.
I gave you time, bro. I put it in the back chat.
Oh man, I don't have an answer, but whatever. The best advice I've ever received: leave where you're from. Don't stay in the same city you grew up in. You know what I'm saying? That's a life hack. You know what I mean? Okay. So, leaving Pittsburgh was the best decision I've ever made in my life. So,
that's what's up. All right. We got a newcomer to the stage. He's back and better than ever, Mr. Brandon.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Which appreciate you bringing me on again.
Listen, I appreciate your consistency. You know what I'm saying?
I try. All right. So the question, the best advice was a tough one. At least I wasn't first because I'm still trying to come up with something, even as I'm talking right now. I think the best advice I can think of off the top of my head, right, is while it's life can be simple, but it's really easy. Things can be simple, but things are really easy. And it took me a while for me to really realize that things can life generally is pretty damn simple. It's really self-explanatory, but the process of going through it may not always necessarily be easy. It's not complicated, but it's not easy.
It's not complicated, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
That's what's up. All right. And we're going to welcome to the stage my homie, my friend. I call him the young OG, Mr. Trill AC.
My boy.
What's going on, homie?
Chilling, man, chilling. That's a hell of a question to open up with, bro. Best piece of advice I ever got. That's tough, man. If I had to pick one, I think they kind of I'm trying to figure out how to surmise it because they end up putting it away. I'm not sure if I can recall exactly, but it was to the liking of like everybody's scared. Nobody has it figured out. And, what he was saying is regardless how successful somebody is, they're always striving to get to another level, right? So it's always a piece of unknown. So the reason they gave me the game is like, stop paralyzing yourself by analysis. Just do it. Just go for it. Nobody has it figured out. So it shouldn't scare you so much that you don't. You know what I'm saying? So with that, that's what caused me to start the podcast, if I'm gonna be honest.
That was 5 or 6 years ago now?
6 years ago. Damn, time passed my quick. Yeah, 6 years ago.
That's what's up. And congrats on the success. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it, G.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm telling you, every time I see somebody use your audio, I'm copying you in it, bro. I'm just know that right now, okay? Because I'm a fan, even though you're my homie, you know.
I appreciate you, G. You know it's loved this way as well, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, and then we're gonna welcome to the stage Miss Lady Dia. What's
Hey,
going on, Miss Dia?
nothing much.
You always seem to be so chill, like you know what I'm saying. I appreciate
That's
that.
that's me. I'm grateful.
That's what's up.
So my answer was, of course, I got it from my dad, and he taught me that acceptance was the answer to any problem that I ever faced. And I think that's invaluable because it's true. I find it to be a true at this age. If I see some person, place, thing, or fact of my life that is unacceptable to me, that I won't find peace until I accept that person, place, or thing as being exactly the way that it's supposed to be. Because nothing happens by mistake. So I use that every time it's time for me to transmute and elevate. If I can't figure it out, I go back to accepting. So that's it. You muted.
I appreciate you being consistent. Is what I was saying.
Oh, and thank you for having me again.
Man, listen, I think I got the Dwayne bug because you know what I'm saying. Hopefully he'll make it. We can talk about him for sure. All right, and welcome back 2 weeks in a row, Miss Jennifer. What's going on?
Thank you for having me back. I'm so
Absolutely.
glad to be back with y'all. I enjoyed it last week for sure.
That's what's up.
So for this question, with everybody else, this was actually a really hard one, but I'm gonna say it like this: the best praise I ever received actually reminded me of the best advice I ever received. So,
Okay.
a few years, like I guess like 2 years ago, I started on this major workout journey for my health reasons and everything else, and it was hard. Like Elijah, you've seen some of the pictures. It's been quite a journey. So one day I was at the gym with my trainer and I was literally ready to curse him and die. He had me working on the green, and this man crossed the green, the turf floor that they have at the gym, came right up to me and was like, "Hey, I had been working out for about 6 months at this point." And he was like, "I just want you to know, I've seen the progress that you've made. You are doing an amazing job. Keep up the good work." I did not know this man. I had never seen him before in my life. I was at the gym 3 to 5 days a week though. So, it's mostly the same people that are there, but I don't be paying attention. I just be there to do what I got to do and go. So that made me feel really amazing and helped power me through the rest of my workout. That is the best praise that I can think of at the moment that I received, but it reminded me of the best advice that I ever received from my mother. She told me, like, when I was she told me this even when I was younger, but it was especially enforced in me when I was going into the workforce to always do my best, because even when you think nobody is watching you, somebody sees you. So always do your best, always, do what you're supposed to do, because even when you think nobody's watching, you're not falling through the cracks. Somebody sees you. So
That's what's up. I would say the best advice that I remember is slow progress is progress. And so it was from my aunt Janet, who was, I was having a hard time at the time. And she was saying, you are being productive. You just don't see the end result right now. And I can attest to that for sure, given the things that I've been through. That if I just continue to move forward, then I reach my destination. That's what perseverance is, right? So that's what's up. Well, that's a good start. So because it's gonna be some interesting topics tonight, and I'm interested to see what y'all got going. Right? Does anybody already want to say who gonna go first? Anybody want to? You ain't got to know the question. You just gonna go.
I just want to say real quick, man. Somebody got YouTube or something playing in the background. If y'all do mute it, or if y'all echo cancellation box not checked, make sure y'all check that echo cancellation box. We hearing feedback.
Okay, appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right, so the first question I have is, how can? Oh, somebody. All right, let's see. Let me get this. My bad. Who has the final say in co-parenting? Who has the final say? Why you? Why, did you already do this topic or something, Trill? You what?
When I say he trying to set us up to argue right out
You
the
know,
gate. I see how this going. I see where
Trill,
this
you know
going.
that's not me, bro. Like I'm curious, bro. I'm curious. You know what I'm saying? Leading into the topic, that's all we doing. You know what I'm saying? Brandon, we gonna start with you, bro.
I feel like I'm the only person who ain't got no kids asking this question. Okay, this is a trick question, man. Like, ideally, I would say there is no final say, but I would, for me, it would depend on both the age of the child and also the sex of the kid. So, I imagine like if it's like a boy, I just feel like as the father, I should have the final say over those type of things. But damn, man, that's a hard ass question. You know what? I'm gonna rep the man squad today. I'm just gonna say men should have a final say over that. You know what I'm saying? I flip the coin. I'm a man. I'm gonna rep team man on this. That's it. I ain't got no reason. Just
Listen,
because
you
I'm a
gonna say
man
it
and
with
I'm
your
rocking with
chest.
it.
You sound a little
Yeah.
nervous.
I am.
All right, who you got going next?
All right, next I'm gonna get let me get Jennifer on it. Yeah.
Okay, so you picked the other person with no kids. This is a tough question for me because I don't have any children, so I've never been in this type of situation. But in my thoughts, just thinking about it, I'm gonna kind of go with Brandon. It depends on the situation, depends on the age, it depends on the child, depends on. There's a lot of factors. It, uh, I it just depends on the situation. I think once you come together, hopefully you can reach a decision together in co-parenting. Talk about it to death until y'all come to an agreement, whatever that may be. But if not, I mean, I just don't know. I really don't know. It depends on what the situation is. Like Brandon said, if it's something dealing with my son, then the dad is going to have a better grasp of male things. If it's something dealing with my daughter, he may need to, stand down and listen to me a little bit more on that because, she's growing into a woman, which I already am, have plenty of experience in that area. But hopefully y'all can come to a decision together and it be a unanimous decision. But I know that's not always the case.
Who you got going next?
True.
And again, just to make sure that add nuance to this, the dad is actually being a dad in the kid's life. This is a real dad, day for day dad, not a sperm donor. Those are two totally different things. But if this is a dad, the dad has final say. Period. Whose last name does the kid have? Whose leadership did you submit to? Mine, right? So that means that it's my vision. And with it being my vision, I got the final say. Now, that's not saying that you don't consult me or you don't, voice your, concerns. You may have some concerns about something I'm thinking about doing, and cool, you can voice that. But final say stops with me. Period. And we're gonna go ahead to prototype next. What no prototype? Yeah, prototype next. I forgot he didn't go first. That was Brandon.
Man, so yeah, I kind of knew I was going to like agree with True on this, but the dad has the final say, and there's really no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Everybody is to convince the dad what to do. You plead your case with the father. He's the judge. He's the last say, period. You know what I'm saying? And since women don't have vision and men do, you know what I mean? It just is what it is. It ends with the father. And I understand Jennifer's like, oh, I've been a woman, blah, 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 blah. I still think men know women more than women know women. So it just is what it is, man. It all ends no matter the child, age, sex, whatever. It all starts with the daddy. And let's go with let's go with Miss Dia.
So I would say that in a co-parenting situation, then they're likely not together. So in a perfect world, it would be the dad. However, if the parents are separated, I would say whoever the child is with predominantly will probably make the final decision, but hopefully they work together enough to come to a conclusion as to what the decision should be. So I would say the dad probably would, most likely. But it depends on the dynamics of the parents, how they work together. If they disrespecting each other and they don't get along, then it's she gonna go with whatever she want to go with. Maybe just to defy him, unfortunately. But that's what we do when we are immature adults.
Hey, welcome, Mr. Dwayne.
Hey,
You,
Keeping
Dwayne.
it consistent.
you stay consistent for sure.
Keeping it
You came
consistent.
off mute though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unfortunately, but fortunately.
So you got the question? Who has the final say in co-parenting?
Just like y'all was saying, in the perfect world, it should be the dad. But I'm gonna go with the government. Sorry to say, but yeah, if worst comes to worst, take him to court. And we know that the courts favor the women over the men. So I remember there was a case where the dad lost custody because he questioned whether or not his child should be transitioned or not, and lost custody of the kid just because the woman had different ideas. So
Dang,
I
that's
don't.
crazy.
I
Go
need
ahead.
full context on that. There had to be more to go into that.
oh, what, the mom thought the boy was a girl, and the dad thought
Yeah,
the
like
boy.
a man can't just lose custody. There had to be a lot of other things to go wrong for him to lose custody of his child. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the idea that custody normally goes to men don't even fight for custody like they should. So
Oh no, but the very fact that you're in an instance like that, I'm just looking at an instance like that, like that this whole new game in which we're going into transitioning your kids and all that stuff. That's a whole new field in which we're entering into. So with all this, where they consider it like a form of healthcare, the dad was depriving the child of healthcare. And I'll put it to you like this too: whenever it comes to spanking, right? The government say, "Oh, you can't spank your kids." I tell them, "Oh, hell, yeah, I can't." But in that, like, you risk a chance also of losing your child just from a form of discipline. So, like, at the end of the day, I could give two diddly diddlies. I'm gonna still do my thing as the dad, right? But that's a risk in which people now run, as especially if you separate it, because now whenever it comes to disciplining the child, you say, all right, well, no, that don't fly over at my house, dad's house, right? The mom could say, well, he's abusing the child. Now, who gets involved? The legal system.
right, and
Just
everybody
right.
plead a case. So
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
I don't like putting out the rhetoric because men are already afraid of the law. We look at the law from a defeated standpoint. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I hate the rhetoric of you're not going to win if you get in a court case. You know what I'm saying? So I just
No, I
hate
didn't
putting
say
that
you're not going
idea
to
out
win.
there because we
I'm
can
not
win
saying
it
you're not going to
if
win.
we fight. But we don't fight for it. We don't even go for full custody like we should.
No, I'm just saying, like, the majority of the people that go to the casino don't win. So in that case, I'm saying, like, the court system is against fathers. Can they still win? Absolutely, they can, but it's just naturally stacked against them.
It's not
Or
though. That's what I'm saying. That's the rhetoric. That's what it's not naturally stacked against men. We don't fight.
So what?
for
So
the
what does fighting look like if you're saying that they don't fight?
Going for full custody
I
and
think you
having
talked about that before.
and
Mhm.
having like men will be like, oh, I want partial custody, and it's the thing. We understand that our children need mothers. You know what I'm saying? Only women will go for the full, no problem. But men have a better understanding of our children need mothers. So when we think about the court system, we're like we only go for partial or go for half. We should have half and they should have half type situation. But court is not real. It's not real life. You know what I'm saying? So get cut. Whatever legal, get the legal stuff handled, and then you can dish out whatever situation you want, as long as you have the control. You know what I'm saying? But get control first, and then just be a good king once you have it.
Thing is, I think that's kind of tricky though, because if let's say that we create a scenario in which the mom and dad make the same amount of money, both of them are both filing for full custody, both people. They come into court, everything is even on both sides. More times than not, the kid is going to the mama in that scenario, in terms of being the primary custody situation. So I think that right there alone creates an imbalance. As a dad, you understand that like it got to be some real adverse circumstances
I,
for that
I think
court
that
to say,
scenario isn't
nah, you know
uncommon.
what, we're gonna give the dad full custody, even though the mom is in here vying for it, and she has a place to stay, she make decent money, all of that, but we're gonna give the dad full custody. You would be far-fetched if you gonna bet like what and again, I would ask you this same scenario, given that scenario I just presented, would you bet every dollar in your account on the dad winning that case if all things are even on both sides and they both want full custody? Would you bet every dollar in your account that the dad will win in that scenario?
I would if he's fighting the right way, like Prototype said. I would. I've seen it happen.
On top of that, I think the scenario is not common as you're making it seem. There's a lot of chance like women are normally hypergamous, right? It's never the same boat. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen women lose even in that kind of scenario where they ended up paying the child support. And you know what I'm saying? And that way. So, like Jennifer said, it's if he's fighting for it, he could win it. Like I don't know if I'll put my money in that, but that scenario is not common, saying that everything being equal. Because it's never two couples being equal. It's not normal.
Wait,
How old the child is may have a lot to do
if
with it
he's
as
fighting
well.
properly, I put my money on it.
Yeah. So, but I'll even put it like this. Like, I'd agree with you, prototype. I do, because my anecdotally, my brother, he has custody of all four of his kids, right? And in that's a situation I've seen men win, but the numbers are not in favor of men. So let's say the preponderance, 51%. That's all I'm at. That's all I'm saying. 51% of the time, or the preponderance of the time, the men will lose. No matter what the circumstances, whether they're not fighting or whether they're fighting. And it's just one of those situations where it's women are the nurturers. So hey, that's how it just goes. They supposedly thinking like, and we could shake our heads, right? We've already said the statistic that the outcome of a single father raising a child is better than a single mother raising the child. That outcome is better. So we've already stated that on this medium. But I'm just saying in this instance now, like the core system is not set up in favor for men. And that's all I'm saying. Like I get your point, and I could also say like I have situation, I've seen it myself, but I'm just putting it out there. No matter whatever the situation is, whether the man is fighting or not, it just leans in favor of the women. And from a governmental standpoint, it's a positive for them for it to work out like that, because the animosity that you put, like if the devil was running things, how much big of a wedge can I put between these people, right? And guess who ends up getting hurt in that situation? The child, right? So as for these situations with child support, and I'll even put it like this: I'm one of them. I'd be one of those where I saw my parents split, and then I watched my mom bicker about child support. Your daddy ain't paying child support. Yo, you can't get this because your daddy ain't paying child support. Like, so I was in the middle of that. So I got impacted by that. So I look at that not as a positive, but something that can drive a wedge. By the grace of God, like I don't let that make me salty. I'm just stating what it is.
I think the kids should have a choice as well, depending on the age of the child. Because I would have chose my dad hands down.
The kids do have a choice at some point. You know what I mean? I think it's 11 is when they
12.
can make depending on the state. You know what I mean? Like I think it's 11 years old. A child has a choice on where they're going to live. You know what I'm saying? But um, I understand the way and everything that you might have your anecdotal experience. But like you said, your brother has custody of all four of his children. You know what I'm saying? He probably had more of a determination to make sure he had his kids. So if more men and had a determination to provide for their kids and raise them kids, I think surely they will win. You know what I mean? I think a lot of men are okay with just paying that bill. I don't think child support was even really made for the black community. It was made for people like that are okay with dishing their kids off as a check, and that generally ain't us. And I think we just got mixed up in that wash. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I think I mean, the information is that women get custody. I'm not sure how much men fight for it or not.
90% of the time, women get custody in
Okay,
full
ninety
court
percent.
battles.
Man, okay, so 90% of the time, uh, I think I was reading something where it's very much beneficial for the mom to get the kid for the government's sake, right? Because now a single mother is more likely to be in poverty, right? And so therefore she's more dependent upon the government, right? And so then that kid is more likely, if you come from a school system, you know that they're considered at-risk children, which means now I can build more prisons, right? And so it's the funding of the cycle. So yes, men can fight for it. I'm not saying that they do or don't, but I'm saying, but it's advantageous for the government not to let the guy win. That's what I'm saying, right? Even though the information has come out, I don't know how recent it is that that the kid would do better with the dad, right? The kid would do better with the dad. However, they still award the mother, even though she makes less, right? The custody. So, with that being said, I want to ask the question: how can a single dad help his daughter be marriage ready? How can a single dad? I'm asking for like pointers, right? Not necessarily a debatable type of situation, but what are some things that the single dad would need to do or say or whatever the case may be to have the daughter be marriage ready?
so I'll kind of jump on this one,
Go
right?
ahead, sir.
I've dealt with it. Um, that dad just got to be an example. Um, giving her lectures till she's blue in the face ain't necessarily going to work. I don't think women actually hear the words we say. I just think they watch what we do and communicate it back however they understood it. You know what I'm saying? So if his examples, or if she could learn from how he moves, I know my daughter would watch how I greet people. You know what I'm saying? And then like later on, we'll bring it up and like, yeah, I can tell when you're cool with somebody, you talk to them like this, or what I'm saying, you dap them up like this. So I think they watch you, and like, so going forward, based off of how people, the community respects you or whatever, they know what kind of man is a solid man based off of what's going on around them. And what I'm saying, I used to have her with me everywhere. You know what I mean? So that's just kind of how you got to move, by just being that example. And even if you talk to a woman like later on, she could tell you examples of what her dad was doing. She knew the rules, but she never knew the logic behind the rules. You know what I mean? And that just lets me like, all they do is observe you and try to figure it out that way. So your example is everything.
Who you got going next?
Let's go with well, I don't got no kids. Let's go with Dwayne.
Yeah, prototype. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. Yeah, you got to lead by example because yeah, that talking stuff, man, that's for the birds. Sometimes you go back and something you said a week ago. You remember what I said? Mm-mm, mm-mm. Like we're playing telephone, and it's just two people, and then had amnesia. So yeah, I'm coming to the notion or the wisdom that yeah, you just got to lead by example. And even in that instance, like there's still free will. They're gonna go on about their way and do their thing, right? So like we could only be so much of an influence. We do the best we can. But yeah. All right, Dia, come on with it.
I would say being her example of how a man should treat her by the way he treats her and the women in his life. My dad, and honest communication. Like he didn't lie to me about anything. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He talked to me about guys. I think men know more about women than women know about men. So it's imperative for us to understand from a man's perspective what men view as wife material. So I would say definitely by example and honesty. I don't care how old she is. Don't I think as parents, we it's a lot that we try to shelter our kids from, and I think that we do them a disservice when we're not honest with them because now they have access to everything, even the things that you think that they don't. So it's best to communicate with our kids honestly to find out what they know and assume even the things that we think that they don't know and act accordingly because you don't want them to get misinformation from people around them rather than being comfortable enough to come to you, especially as a dad. I think girls uh naturally have a reverence for their fathers if they, if they present. So you want to have an open line of communication. You don't have to be graphic, but you need to be real. So I would say honesty and being her prime example. I'll go with Trill.
Um, I say for one, and still in confidence in your daughter. I think a lot of women out in these streets searching for validation that they don't have at home. You should be the first man to tell your daughter how gorgeous she is. You should be the first man to tell her how smart she is, and things of that nature. So that way, when she hear it outside, it's not new. It doesn't, smack her. To whereas if you're not getting that at home, or if the dad not in the house, then she going outside and hearing that from dudes who have zero intentions for her that are that are good, and she gonna be more susceptible to fall for that type of thing, right? Compared to my dad is telling me this every day, drilling this into me every day. When I go outside, it's not new. So I think that's one. Instilling confidence in her, and for two, teaching her what it is that men actually value. I think a lot of men drop the ball in that aspect. We kind of raise our daughter up to be just untouchable princesses, like man need to bring everything to you. He need to treat you this way. He need to deliver this. He need to be making this. He need to be driving that. He need to be living this way, or else don't even look at him. You see what I'm saying? So what does that do? That makes the daughter go out there with an entitlement mindset. She finally runs into one of those dudes that her dad was talking about, and she don't know how to keep him. She knows how to get pampered, sure, but she don't know how to take care of that man. Why? Because the dad never instilled in her, hey, this is what most men typically value. Now, of course, it's going to be variance depending on the man, but men are pretty simple across the board. If you can give us about 5 things, I think I made a video on that. Five
You did,
things.
you did, bro. Promo
Yeah,
that.
what I mean? You can give a man about 5 things, you see what I'm saying? We'll be good to go. Most men. And then there's 1 or 2 things on the outside of that, depending on the man, right? But a lot of women don't even get those 5 to go outside with and have in mind when they run into the guy. So
Can
they
you
be
get
doing
those 5 real quick and then come back to what you were saying? Can you get those
um
5? Or do you
yeah,
remember?
I mess around forgot what I said in the video, man. I'm gonna have to go do a bit of
No worries.
research.
I'm gonna have to go look for it. But it was really good. My bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just go ahead,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, no, it's all good. But yeah, so I think those 2 things, man, is confidence and teaching your daughter what it is that a man actually values so she can know how to take care of one when she runs into the one that she needs to run into. We're gonna go ahead to Brandon next.
All right, but then y'all took a lot of the ones I wanted to say. I would say I'm trying to think about like what are the things I would want to teach if I have a daughter. Uh, and I would think first and foremost I would like to teach like accountability, which and the ability to recognize and be able to take accountability for for their actions or what have you. And with that, I also believe that comes with instilling confidence and inner, to Trill's point, I don't want, the first time someone, bigger up to be some dude, some dude on the street. I want, so I want to be like, I heard that before. They ain't like, man, you ain't saying nothing. Uh, Additionally, I guess one of the things I've talked about before on my podcast is like, a lot of the times with the kids, we see our parents, or in this case, our fathers, as like the finished product. So we hear the stories about how women say, "My daddy spoiled me," la da da da. Like, but you don't know what he was like when he first came up. You only got to the final product. So when they start dating and they looking at these 18, 19-year-olds, they expecting the same treatment that my daddy gave, but they can't do that because they need another 20 years to get to the same level as what your daddy was when he was providing you with the things that you are, proudly saying you need your man to give you. So I think being able to show, your daughter what it was like, what it takes in order to maintain, the lifestyle that they're affording you. Not necessarily, I'm not saying like, you should they show her the bills every month, but they need to see that this shit don't come easy. And if only just to build a kind of an appreciation for the services and like the protection and all the things that the man in your life provides for you, so they can go out and be able to appreciate a good man when they see one.
Who you got going next?
So we only got one more left. So I think is it Jennifer? You haven't gone yet, right?
No, I haven't. I'm sorry. I mean, you guys have pretty much said it all, but Brandon took the one that I was going to say. Definitely holding her accountable. Just teaching her that accountability, leading by example, being her first love, so she knows what healthy love looks like, and not going out, just falling for anything because somebody's like Trill mentioned, somebody's giving her attention and she's never had it before, so she don't know how to act. So just leading by example, being that first love, holding her accountable for her actions, and teaching her the right way to do things, for herself, for her future husband, and and traveling. I feel like that's something that we lack in a lot. Taking our children to see the world and for themselves. There's a lot that we see, because we have exposure to so much now with social media and the internet. We can see a glimpse of whatever the media wants us to see of these other cultures and places and countries and whatever else. But we really need to take our children to see those things for themselves, because it's not always what you see in the media.
And real quick, humble dad, the 5 things. I got them now. I had to go back and
What's up?
I make way too many videos, man.
You do, bro.
But no, number 1 was gratitude / respect. See, I got gratitude and respect on the same level because I think it takes respect to give somebody gratitude, right? But that right there is number 1. Number 2 is loyalty, undying loyalty to that man. You're gonna value that. 3, sex, self-explanatory. Sex in a frequent, consistent fashion. 4, understanding of the fact that we ain't gonna always have this shit figured out. Understanding of the fact that we got programming that works against us in terms of being successful in this relationship that we have to break and kind of repurpose and relearn how to be in a relationship in a successful way. And number 5, attention to detail. Going back to the piece about what I said about knowing what a man wants, teaching your daughter what it is that a man wants. She needs to be humble enough to pay attention to detail and don't come in there full of entitlement, because all I've ever been told is what I need to be demanding from a man. But when I get there, I know how to pay attention to what it is that my man values so I can reciprocate that same energy. But those 5.
That's good. Anybody want to add to that? Okay, so we're basically saying that the dad needs to lead by example, is what it said. Now, this example comes in the form of, I think one person said how he treats the mother and how he treats the women that are in his life. I think somebody said that. So my question that I have that I've been pondering, since as though that we in our culture are raised by single mothers, and then how do men learn how to treat women? That's my next question. How do men learn how to treat women? I'm interested to see who want to go first on that.
I'll go first on this one. I hate to say it, but first of all, I like to say I've been very fortunate to have both of my parents growing up. So like,
hey, before you go, I just want to say this part. I'm not trying to make this controversial for anybody that's thinking that. Okay, I'm looking for answers.
All right. Well, I think the real answer may be controversial, but it's going to be the answer. I would say that we learned it from the streets. We learned it from TV, hip hop. You know, we watching big pimping videos and all that stuff. I generally 1000% believe that is how a lot of the millennials and probably, you know, Gen X's before learned how to treat women growing up, because that's all we had is what we saw. It wasn't nobody in the house who was really could reinforce a healthier behavior pattern, so you know, so to speak. And even if they did, you spending most of your time outside the house as a kid, so that definitely has a significant amount of influence on, you know, kids hanging with your homeboys or homegirls or whatever, and seeing what's going on out here, the big homies on the block and things of that nature. So I think that the majority of the education when it comes to how we treat our women is, so I was gonna say social media, but well, social media now, but back then it was just like TV, you know, music, things like that.
Who you got going? Or anybody can chime in now. This is on you.
Chime in.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Trill.
Yeah, I say, man, trial and error is how we learn. You know, I think our parents have good intentions when they're trying to teach us how to treat women. But fact is that a lot of parents forget they was kids. They giving you advice from an adult mindset, and then you get out there with that adult mindset. Yeah, you want to treat all of the women right. You want to, you know, be persistent. You want to be consistent. You want to take advantage. You want to be a one-woman man. You want to focus on her. You want to do all of these things. And then as a young boy, you go out there with that mindset and you get smacked with the reality that that does not work in terms of getting women, right? The reality is what they should be telling you, what we got to learn from the streets, as my boy Brandon just said, is that there's a bit of toxicity necessary to get the woman's attention. Women value men. Most women value men who are highly desired by other women. That is a fact. Most women kind of desire a man that's not readily accessible whenever she wants him to be. Women like to chase a bit too, ironically. You see what I'm saying? So these are things that as a man, you got to learn when you go outside, and then you actually see it, right? You go out there and you try to implement what your parents told you about all the consideration and the straightforwardness with the woman and all of this one woman type of stuff. And like I say, she look right over your ass and go mess with old boy who done hit 3 or 4 of the cheerleaders already. He got about four chicks in the science class he on. He got a couple, you know what I mean? He doing his thing. And he ain't showing no kind of consideration. He ain't showing no kind of persistence, no kind of attention to detail, none of that. He out here moving in an extremely toxic way, but he's getting results in terms of the attention of these women, right? So again, if I'm advising, I would say you got to go outside. It takes a bit of toxicity to get their attention. Now, once she your girl, then you can unleash all of that good stuff that your parents told you to go out there and implement and pour into a woman. But if you try to lead with that, you will be highly, highly disappointed. So that's most men learn through trial and error, unfortunately.
I like that.
What'd you say, Jennifer?
I said I like that answer.
That's, you know, it'd be wild. They can't even refute it.
I got
you know what I'm saying? Like,
we'll
we'll say stuff like that, and they'll be like, oh, I can't believe you said that. And then, you know what? He ain't lying.
He ain't.
I came from the street. So I definitely agree. And I'm a boy mom. So I have 2 sons. So I would say men should learn how to treat women from their mothers. However, because I have an adult son at this point, I don't know where he got it from. Oh God, I'm like, he act like he was raised by wolves, and that's definitely not the example that he saw growing up. So the outside influence, as far as the music, as far as social media, this generation is a new breed. I would say in the past, my husband probably learned how to treat women from the street too. Lord, I just wasn't having it. So I would say from the women, you know, they act accordingly. You know, women they're gonna accept it or they not. You teach people how to treat you is the way I was raised. So I would say from the women and what we've made acceptable or what they've made acceptable, because this another generation we dealing with right now.
That's facts.
So yeah, I'm not gonna ask a deer how to hunt it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to the I'm gonna go to the hunter
It
and
gets
be
very
like,
weird if you
how you
talking
be
to
shooting down
deer.
them bucks? You know what
Don't
I'm
talk to
saying?
deer, bro.
But I'm gonna keep it a buck with my sons, even though I'm a deer. I'm still gonna tell them what it is. I'm on his
But
side.
the person who sniped you, I'm asking him.
Yeah, but a woman teaches a man about a woman, just like a man teaches a woman about a man.
I think they're going to learn it from whoever they idolize, whatever they idolize. So, like Brandon mentioned, if it's, what they see in rap videos and whatever, they learning in the streets and they don't have any other influence, other than, what some perceive as positive or what some perceive as negative, they're gonna emulate whoever they idolize. Period. So the best you can hope for is that it's somebody that's got some sense.
So then, go ahead, Trill.
I was gonna say just a short piece of advice for any young dudes that we have out here watching this, man. If you want to learn how to get women, when you take an economy class, I want you to study supply and demand and the relationship between them. And if you study that, and if you're able to grasp that concept, and I mean in a very deep way, you will be uber successful with women going forward. But if you go out there and you try to implement all that nice guy shit that your mama told you, your daddy told you. Well, now let me rephrase, because daddy not telling the son of that your mama told you, you gonna get highly disappointed. And so
But
somebody
but
asked, like,
mama
why
ain't
does it
either
take?
necessarily. She gonna tell him the truth. It
Well, no, no,
depends
no,
on
no.
what his goal is.
No, I think you gonna tell them the truth. Most
Okay.
women are not, and that right there is the problem. And again, somebody asked, why does it take a bit of toxicity to get women's attention? It's the same reason that it take a bit of toxicity to get man's attention. Fact is, people want what they can't have. It's just a fact. It's ingrained in us. That's what it is. Something that's readily available. Like you can go out there and buy a Ford whatever for $6,000. Everybody on this panel could. We're not gonna go do that. We don't want the Ford that costs $6,000. I want that Benz. I want that BMW. I want that because why? Because it means more when I got it. It's a symbol. It's a status symbol. This thing was elusive. This thing costs a lot of money. This thing is exclusive. It's not readily available to everybody. Everybody not capable of going out there and getting it. So if I get it, that says a lot about me, and that says a lot about my capabilities and my status and how much swag I got, how good I look, all of these things. It speaks volumes to all of that. The person on your arm does that. And that's why it takes a bit of toxicity. It takes a bit of elusiveness. And again, I'm not saying lie to women, never. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you be bluntly honest, you tell them the truth, you move as if you don't really give a damn like that. But when y'all kick it, show a good time, you be a gentleman, all of these things. But you just not calling her every day. Hey, good morning. Hey, how you doing? Hey, did you like the date last night? Hey, did you this? Hey, did you that? No. You be a bit elusive. And then once she becomes your woman, then you can do all that nice guy shit that most moms is telling you to do. But you gotta go study supply and demand and the relationship between the two if you want to be successful with women. Otherwise, you will struggle. It's just what it is.
I got a question though, Trill. What toxic trait can a woman display to make her still credible? 'Cause I don't want no toxic traits, you know what I'm saying? But what is that toxic, you know what I mean? That toxic level that women can unleash that still make her desirable by dudes?
The same elusiveness that I'm telling men to have. Because fact is, men like to chase too if the woman is worth chasing. If we feel like she's on a high enough pedestal. You literally got women out here who say, I don't want nobody, I don't want no man to talk to me unless it's money involved. I don't want no man to do this, like putting all these boundaries, all of these barbed wire fences ahead, and it's a million dudes still chasing her. Why? Because she looked good and she's exclusive, and not every man has access to her. And if I get to her, it's gonna say a lot about me. It's kind of similar to where you be seeing a lot of these older Instagram chicks who are a bit over the hill, and then those young NBA dudes come in, and the first thing they do is grab her and cuff her up and take her out and do all of these things. Why is that? Because growing up, he's seen her on his phone throughout his whole career while he was trying to get to the league. And now that I finally got the money, now that I finally got the status and I can get her, I'm going to go get her. Why? Because she represents a status symbol. So to answer your question, the same elusiveness, the same inconsistency that men would show on the opposite end to maintain their intrigue. Women do that shit very, very, very well, especially ones who look good.
I don't think they can keep it though. I don't think it gets them wife. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like the 50 Cent Vivica thing. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of compare what you were just talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like after you get it, you're like, that wasn't even worth it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see a woman displaying toxic traits. It's helping her in the long run. You know what I'm saying? She could be elusive, but once she get got, you know what I'm saying? One or two times it's fine with me. You know what I mean? So
But see again, I think
What if
I think,
she's
I think the
what if
ones
she's
who
a toxic teacher? Because I'm saying that to say because a woman got to be able to teach him something. If she's showing him something that he ain't never experienced, and she can get him up there, then it don't matter how toxic she is. Men turn hoes into housewives all the time.
no, we know no woman want to teach
Wait.
anything.
Say that again. Men do what?
Turn hoes into housewives all the time. That's where that came from.
look his face.
I'm just what?
Nah, but look though, these is the women who get wifed. I'm explaining to you the difference. There's some women who's mastered the art of moderation, right? And that's what I mean by the elusiveness. The women who get kind of used and kind of spit out, those are the ones who make themselves readily available right out the door. Or let's just say you do cover it. Everything just falls into your lap. She didn't give you the whole blueprint on what it is that she like. She calling your phone 2-3 times a day, texting you 2-3 times a day, blowing your shit up, just doing way too much. If you make yourself that readily available to anybody, let's take men off the table. Anybody, they're gonna lose interest in you because I feel like I can always come back to you. I got you in my back pocket, right? But the women who are able to master moderation, those are the ones who keep men intrigued for a long period of time. They get married, they have kids, and he still ain't quite figured out yet. Those the ones that get wife. Now the ones who ain't mastered that ability, you're 1,000% right. Those get used up and spit out immediately. I agree.
No rebuttal, man. Listen, I don't know about that one. The women that get wifed up are the ones that are actually wife material. That's my thought process on it. And
It depends. It depends on the level of the dude. You know what I mean? Like
what?
I've seen throughout my years a lot of hoes get wifed by pastors. You know what I'm saying? Like I've
Really?
seen that. Yeah,
Really?
I've seen plenty of that.
Really?
But I mean,
Name one.
they're the guys that like
Name
didn't
one.
was lame or corny or whatever, and then became a pastor like later on down the line. And want that hoe they couldn't get. You know what I'm saying? I see that a lot. Or a real simp dude with a that don't even last, and she don't even be wanting dude. Like you know what I mean? It's always a temporary situation where she's just trying to get like a little retirement plan, but
So you telling me you think that a woman that has been a hoe is going to get wifed up faster than a woman that's actually in the mindset of wanting to be a wife?
He's saying
by a
that it
pastor?
depends on the man.
Yeah, it depends on the man and like what he had access
popular.
to in throughout his life.
Okay, so you're basically going with what Trill is saying that dudes are out here. If he does get married, he's more likely marrying the woman that he couldn't get before.
Correct. There are tears humble that everybody ain't been able to pull attractive women all their life. That's a fact.
That's unfortunate.
I know, right? It's a goddamn shame, if we're gonna be honest. But that's another conversation for another day. What I'm saying is this: it's way more of those type of men than the ones who can, right? And because that market is so wide, it's gonna always be somebody willing to wife up one of those chicks.
I see. Then that goes to what Rilla used to say: you get who you qualify for.
Exactly.
Okay, so then I'm learning on this one because my thought process was different. So that means that a woman that lived the lifestyle as a hoe gets wifed up because the dude is not equipped enough, I guess, or he's not prepared enough, or he sees her as more than what I guess she probably is. Is that what y'all saying?
Yeah, he don't have enough confidence in himself. He sees her as a step up on the pedestal. Why? Because she hasn't always been available to him. That right there is the thing about hoes, right? You can call her a hoe all you want, but there's a big group of men who do not have access to that woman. And that's just what it is. Now she might have got passed around the top 10% of men,
I see where you at.
but it's 90% of men who wouldn't even be able to sniff her in the same room. But once he start making that money, and once he elevate, he get that nice car, he get that, start dressing a little better. Now all of a sudden, he got access to this woman, and he gonna look at her differently than a dude who done always had access. Dude done always had access. Be like, she all right. You know what I'm saying? Compared to him, he like, nah, I've been wanting this woman for 10 years, and she finally willing to go on a date with me. I'm diving at the opportunity. That's my wife. I don't give a damn what it is. I'm
And
taking
what
it.
level of hoe is she? Like, because in the real world, you got escorts, you got prostitutes, you got crack. How blatant is it? Because
What an
he might
interesting
not even be
transition.
aware that she's a hoe. You understand what I'm saying? It's levels to this, like
I
everything.
think dudes. Well, that's the thing, right? That's what I'm pondering. That how would this dude know that she was?
Exactly. See, now you got social media.
Because this how you know. Because he done been that best friend that she could talk to as she was cycling through these men, and he was hoping to God that it was his turn. He got looked over 20 times until he glowed up, and she finally gave him that opportunity. So he done seen it with his own eyes, and he still
Ain't there a story about that?
jump at the opportunity, man.
And there's a story about that. A chick curved a dude for 10 years, and then like she circled the block, and they met, and then they got together. I know it didn't work out on the back end, but that happened.
That's a fact.
That happened too. He was the one that went to crying about the guy that she was with and the abuse. He had a front row seat for everything, so he knew exactly what to do to get her when it was his turn. And when he got his turn, boy, did he take his turn. And he's married to her, and they love each other to death.
Do they?
We can't forget about Pretty Woman.
Huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a movie though.
What? Oh, you talking?
That's a movie though.
Based on what? All these movies are based on reality.
What I'm saying though, in I'm saying in Pretty Woman, he could have had any woman that he wanted.
And he chose the hoe.
He did. But I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, that guys that typically can have any woman they want are not going to choose a hoe. That's what I'm saying. Trill was saying that the guy that is not he doesn't have the same he don't have the same access. You know what I'm saying? He is going to be having to be at a lower tier of a woman, basically. If you want to put it as a tier, I apologize if that's insulting, right? But I would think that a hoe is low on the totem pole, right? From a woman's perspective.
Depends on what you like.
Depends.
Yeah, what I'm saying. It's certain. It's certain. But it's certain hoes that move with discretion. Like they respectable hoes. So what Dia is saying is 1,000% right.
Exactly.
You got certain hoes who just blatant with it. I'm outside. I'm hitting whoever. It is what it is. And then you got a certain level of hoe who is just discreet. You would never know unless somebody slip up and then say something or whatever. But she just carries herself like a great woman. I know one right off the top of my head who was an escort for 12 years, and she married to a millionaire right now. He has zero idea of her past like I do, and that's the game, man.
Exactly. And like men have rosters, women have rosters too.
Don't start that, Dia. Don't start.
Most men don't have a roster, Dia. Most men don't have a roster.
Okay.
The top 10% do. The top 10%.
But that means 90% don't.
That's facts.
Okay.
I'm speaking from a woman's perspective. When a woman is dating, she got a guy likely that she can call for everything that it is that she needs. Different guys, depending on what it is that he could provide, is all I'm saying. And how would you categorize her?
Was she having sex with all
as
of them?
an auntie?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Categorizing herself.
Is she having sex? She having sex with all them men?
The ones that she has, more than likely not. So she only got to do certain things with certain, okay, there's a
whole book out there about it. Hoe tactics, and one of the nowhere on that list is you have to sleep with that man. But they teach you how to get everything you want out of them without having to sleep with them.
Well, that just lets you know that dude is a whack.
We need to expose them. We need to
Here you go.
expose them.
Look, home dad say you're goofy. But look though, the dude, like, we live in an era right now to where there's chicks on Instagram who got dudes sending them $300 cash apps just cause.
Yeah,
400 just cause. She
heard
won't even
about that.
text. She don't even have a number. He trying to gain her attention. Hey, baby, go $200. Go buy you something nice. And now again, for a guy who's used to getting women, you look at that and be like, what the fuck are you doing? But for him, that's his only way in. That's the only way she would even look at him. The only way that, you know what I'm saying? So again, dudes got to use what they got to get what they want, like Players Club. but that's a tale as old as time. It's certain dudes, even attractive women, it's certain dudes who will give them zero effort and get everything out of that woman. And then there's other dudes who got to bring everything to the table, consistency, the money, the nice car, the house, and all of that. And she's still going to put him through the ringer.
And those the ones she don't like.
That's what it is.
Yeah, I just seen a clip that this woman was saying that this dude was the first dude that didn't cheat on her. And he was the first dude to have financial plan and have things together. And she married him. And then it was not enough, she said, or that there was something missing, and she divorced him. Now, I'm not saying that always happened, but that's crazy, right? That she had everything that she wanted in a dude and was like, nah, I'm good. You know?
But see, that right there is what she told the lie, humble dad. She didn't have everything she wanted. She wanted a little bit of that toxicity, a little bit of that intrigue,
there you go.
a little bit of that elusiveness.
She's used to some form of abuse, and she wasn't getting it.
I've literally seen women out here. I swear to God, man, to where you will be dating a chick, or you'll be, I don't want to say dating, you will be in entanglement with a chick, and she would, bro, and you would literally tell her like, look, sweetheart, like I want no parts of a relationship right now. I'm gonna just be real with you. Like I'm focused on this. I got this going. I got that going. Whatever the case may be. And as a matter of fact, you deserve better than me. You deserve a man who's going to be consistent. You deserve a man who's going to be 100% about you, attention to detail, all of that. And I had a woman look me dead in my eyes after I told her these things and said,
that's a salesman technique.
Can't tell me what I deserve.
That's a salesman technique. That's A1.
And on that day, I learned a valuable lesson. It's just real. I learned a valuable lesson that day. Is that all juice is not created equal, man. That's just reality.
That's crazy. What you were saying, Brandon? I'm sure that what you finished.
Yeah, no.
That's a salesman technique.
Yeah, just one more thing, because after that, I was scratching my head, and I'm like, what? Oh, okay. And I asked her why. I was like, why do you feel that way? She said, looked me dead in my eyes with a straight face, and said, 50% of you is better than 100% of the men that are available to me right now.
I've heard that before. I've heard that before.
I mean, it ain't tricking if you got it, right?
But the thing of it is that if I mean, there are some women that are like that, but I wouldn't necessarily say that those, man, so this is a long way from the original question. I just want y'all to know. Does anybody know what the original question was?
It was
can you be a good dad and mistreat the mom?
No. It was
get that.
Parents,
who should the daughter learn from?
A
or
man how
like
to
that.
treat a woman.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. Yes.
How do we learn how to treat women?
How can a dad teach a daughter how to be marriage ready?
No, that was the first question.
That was first. Okay, so what was the second question?
The second one was, who teaches a man how to treat a woman?
Yeah. Who teaches that, right? And then we got into whole talk, and that there's respectable couples.
Whole talk.
That's in line, humble dad. That ain't detouring at all. If we're gonna keep it real.
Close to this whole stuff.
Listen. I can only imagine what my colleagues may say when they watch this. Bro.
Wait, so
They
Go ahead,
grown.
Dwayne.
who teaches their kids how to be hoes again? I didn't get that point.
That was never a question.
Oh, my bad. Let me go back.
That
to
Hey,
the-
somebody had to teach him though, Dwayne. That's a real question.
I'm just saying,
That's
but
a
I'm gonna
real
go back on mute though.
Listen, I'm gonna put that one up, okay? Oh my
Whole
God.
talk.
Here you go.
Whole talk. I like that. That should be a segment somewhere. That's a segment. That's a segment. I don't know where yet, but it's a
I
segment.
think you got to get some of what you don't want though, so you can figure out what you do want. So that's a phase. You know, everybody got to get some toxicity because that's how
That's your toxic trait. That's a woman thing to say.
No, I'm saying.
Nope.
I think
I
most
got
That
people,
woman thing to say. The first person to say it was a man.
and most
Who said
people
that?
learn through pain. When everything is well, we ain't trying to learn nothing because we think we know already.
Lessons are best learned in blood.
Exactly.
This is some women. That's a woman thing to say. Look, y'all both saying the same thing. Men don't think like
So
that.
you
We don't
don't
talk like that.
respond to pain?
Nah, she right, prototype. I'm gonna keep it real, and this is how, right? We had a question speaking to how do men learn how to treat a woman, right? And I got a different answer for you. Losing a good one. That's how we learn how to treat a woman. Pain, the pain that she's speaking of, right? Because I
Exactly.
had this good woman. She was telling me what it was that she wanted. I had no idea how to handle her. She finally got fed up, walked out on me, and the pain from that taught me how to treat women going forward. So what she's saying is right.
I agree with that, but I feel like you talk about pain, but I feel like they talk about suffering.
Huh?
I feel like Trail's talking
All
about
right, now
pain.
I think that's logistics there. You know what I'm saying?
Tomato.
And I don't want to speak from my
Oh,
anecdotal.
man.
You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have the same sentiment as losing a good woman, and I think I think every woman could be good to somebody. You know what I'm saying? It just depends on who that guy is, because like for somebody else, like she could be hard to get, and then for me, she could be absolute. You know what I mean? Whatever. I don't want to go too.
But that's not true though. Say according to Prototype, if I go back into the archives.
He got any
Let me clarify. Go ahead. What,
No. You can't clarify now.
According to me, what? According to me, what I said.
You said you can make any woman a great woman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why is that? Please elaborate.
Because I'm me, and she'll do what I ask her to do. Now, am I going to accept, the baggage she come with, blah, 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 X, Y, Z? No, but she got to be qualified. You know what I'm saying? But is she going to come up under the, the prototype plan? Yeah, she's going to be a damn good woman. Like
you can't say there's a particular standard.
There is a standard on
on
what I'm willing to accept.
Any woman, the one is what you said.
Oh yeah, I can make any woman the one. Yeah, I don't believe in there's no one.
So then that means you can turn a hoe into a housewife.
No, I'm not doing that.
I didn't say.
How do you know if you have or not?
Are you doing it? But can
and how do you know if you did?
I can do it, but I'm not. I wouldn't, and I haven't. You know what I'm saying? Like I used to play the catch and release. Like I like I teach them up and let them go, and they get married after that. So
you're a wife coach. Is that what you're saying?
Period.
A wife coach is crazy. I ain't know where to put it like that, but I like it. I like it though. My boy.
Not a life coach, but a wife coach.
My boy say he a wife coach, man.
Catch and release him. What you got on it, Dwayne?
Oh, what was the question again?
I want to know. You said that people are teaching people how to be hoes. That's what you said. So he think is responsible for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's responsible for teaching women to be that way?
The parents? For both men. Can men be hoes?
Yes.
First and foremost, do not transition.
No, I'm not. No, I just needed a point of clarification because
Yes.
we seem to deviate from the men.
Okay, cool.
critique
The answer is
or
yes.
criticism of men.
Yes.
So okay, so men can be hoes.
No,
So
we
it's
did
both
talk about
parents.
simps, bro. We did talk about.
Oh well, cool. I must have missed that one.
Yeah,
I was
okay,
late.
go ahead. So yes, men can be that as well.
All right. So if men can be hoes and women can be hoes, it's being taught by their parents. All right, because there's only so certain amount of hoism that you can trait that you can have while living under my household without me noticing. Right? Okay, because I done guys had some toxic hoes myself, right? All right. So if my whole alert start going off, be like, hey son, what you done brought home? All right. Same thing. Hey, daughter, like what did you bring home? Okay. So I'm gonna start asking questions. Okay, so because right? Just saying. So it's learned by the parents. So if and I'll put it like this, that's one of my fears as a father because of my hoism. Okay, so because I was out there trying to swing at everything, pitch in the dirt, pitch over the head, everything. I'm swinging at everything. Now I teach my children to don't do what daddy did, right? Even though we know that's been going on for generations, where that's what the parents trying to do, right? Trying to do better than what they did. But it's like that's one of my main goals. Like, hey, you can't be a stripper or a hoe. Okay.
I don't think parents teach their kids how to be hoes. I think they create the doorway for somebody to manipulate that person to be like, so, whatever flaw the parent didn't teach or coach or whatever the doorway is for that guy that comes in there, if he recognizes it, he could use it for the greater good or the greater evil. You know what I'm saying? And that would be purely up to, who she deal with, how she deal with. And unfortunately, once he does what he does, if he's not a good person and he ships her off, or you know what I mean, she's going to learn a little bit or she's not, and the line of manipulation of the guy she's dealing with can last forever until she actually learns, and by that time she's like, we ain't gonna get into that, but you understand where I'm going with that.
Same thing for the guys.
Don't do
Yeah, I
that.
think that
Don't do that.
Yeah, I said that.
Hell
yeah, I said that. Hell yeah, I said that. Because some of these men get strung along, can get strung along, right? Because like what y'all saying, like they were taught about this nice guy to be the nice guy, right? And that women will manipulate that nice guy to get everything that she wants, and he will, at the end of it, he doesn't get what he was truly looking for at the end of it. So that's why I'm bringing up as for the piece about the men as well, because both sides have to play it smart. Both of them have to be intelligent about who they're messing with.
But you already know, based on society, right? If you get manipulated as a man, you're getting clowned. If you're getting manipulated as a woman, like it's always the dude's fault. So it's your fault if you get manipulated by a woman, and it's a man's fault if he manipulates a woman, if she's manipulated by a man. So that's one of those things where we got to teach our young boys, you can't be the stupid one.
But you don't know you're the stupid one when you're in the situation. Right. So like whenever you get that hoe, right, that you've been chasing after for 10 years, right? You happier than a mother. You happy, right? You golden good. It don't matter who call you stupid, right? Yourself probably on your inside, man, you stupid. But I got it though. Like, but that's the thing. You got what you wanted out of the whole thing. You done caught yourself a hoe. Everybody else knows you're a hoe, right? But you think that hoe is special. You done caught yourself a special hoe. All right. But no hoe like her. Right? That you got yourself a real one. But you happy. Everybody else clowning you. But you happy though. So from my standpoint, hey, so most people, hey, it's about whether you're happy or not.
I understand you haven't been in this country that long, Dwayne, but it's cool. I'm gonna let you.
Yeah,
that's international. Simping is international, right? Hoeing is international. As a matter of fact, they fly him out now.
Flew out.
Right.
Yeah.
Fly him out now.
It's flew
Got a passport? Come on with it.
out.
I mean, you got a point. I mean, as far as like the culpability is definitely on the parent, but I agree with Prototype is saying that they do it indirectly. It's kind of like putting a sign on a door that says "Do not open." Most people who walk by that door, they're gonna read that sign and they gonna open it. I want to see why that sign is right there that says don't open it. Right. In fact is
nobody know it and close it back real
nobody
quick.
know. I mean,
Yeah.
I gotta know. It's itching me to know, right? But I think that comes from I think it was something Dia said earlier about parents not being honest with their kids and trying to shelter them too much and scared to have those conversations, especially a dad. If we're gonna keep it real in terms of him having a daughter, he don't even want to bring up sex. I don't want you ain't having sex till you're 40 years old. Don't even bring it up to me. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to talk about it. None of that. That's most dads, right? So what you do when you do that is that when she gets outside, because you done put so much of a taboo on it. When she get outside, I want to know why he's fighting so hard to keep me away from this. And then once you experience it, and sex is amazing, if you're doing it with the right person, right? You're gonna want a little more and a little more and a little more and a little more. But it all stems from that curiosity of them being so hard pressed against it and not even wanting to discuss it, not even wanting to give you the guidelines on how you should be operating, none of that. And that feeds intrigue. So yes, parents are culpable, but in an indirect way.
Can I say something? I definitely agree with that. It comes along with parents paying attention to their children as individuals and what they have going on with them specifically. Like if you know your child is, whatever it is, whatever the chink in their armor is, that's what you have to reinforce. And it may not be the same from one child to the next, but all of that comes with it. So it does start with the parents because it comes with paying attention to your child and knowing them. And like Trill said, being honest with them about what their weaknesses are, what their shortcomings are, and reinforcing those, strengthening those areas, because every child is different. And while you have one child that like we talked about, if they're not getting the attention that they think they need at home, they're going to go out and seek that attention elsewhere. And if they get it, God help them if they get it from the wrong place. And then you have a kid that you could tell them that stuff all day long, and even though they're not necessarily getting the attention at home, they still don't care. Like, whatever, I don't care about that. But they have some other some other chink in their armor, having to do with something else with them psychologically or physically or whatever the case may be. You just have to know your children and pay attention to them and spend time with them, quality time, real time. And that's not time going to the movie sitting in silence. That's not taking them to school. No, you spend quality time with your children, reinforcing those areas that need strengthening in them.
It's still a different type of attention. So even if you spend time with your children, they still gonna explore. You can talk to your kids till they blue in the face, and they gonna do whatever it is that they want to do. And like Trill said earlier, we have to remember that we were kids. And the reality of it is nothing is gonna shelter us from reality. So when they do fall, if they slip up and become a hoe, you gotta reel them back in. Hopefully they ain't making no babies. Hopefully they ain't caught nothing that ain't no cure for. Hopefully they can redeem themselves mentally and spiritually, if nothing else, because they ain't getting the physical part back. But you just go through it with them. That's just the reality of it. Like we living. This is life. We imperfect, they imperfect, and we have to remember that was key for me to remember in raising my son what I was when I was his age, and because of where I came from, he didn't get an inkling of the street. I got out of that life while I was pregnant, as a matter of fact, because that's usually the catalyst for women, unfortunately. But I got out of it immediately. You would think that he was planted on the street the way he moving right now. And the only thing that I could do is be honest with him and remember how I was. He's still better than me, even though he doing him. It's just life.
Soldiers still go out on the battlefield and die, but like I said, you just gotta equip them properly so that when they go to do battle, regardless, they're better equipped. They still may go out there, like you said, and get hurt and die and everything else, but they are still better equipped than the person that went out there in their jeans and t-shirt, with no armor, no protection, no knowledge, no nothing, going into battle just bare naked, versus having the tools that will help them, especially in a situation where, like we said, you as a parent see you see the things that you see those things in your son, and it's not because he was ever exposed to them because of you, but you see them try to get a jump on that so that he'll have a better success rate than you did.
That's what's up. That's good. I wanted to commend y'all on that one. I mean, we did transition pretty well. Y'all in the back chat sometimes it's really funny, so forgive me. All right. So we gonna get into the main topic. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's so fun to be on panel sometimes because the back chat, like this one is pretty lighthearted, but me and Trill have been on some ones when it's in the back chat, it just be outlandish, bro. So this one is definitely pretty lighthearted. So the information that we talked about is that men are able to teach their children how to be to treat their how to be a better I guess what is it, how they treat their mom is a good way of how they can know how a man should treat them, right? That's what one of you said as well. So but in the situation that was described earlier, well then how can he be considered a good dad and mistreat their mother? If the statement is how he treats his mother, I'm sorry, how he treats their mother or how he treats the wife is the reflection of what it looks like to be the example, which is what most of y'all said. So this is going to be a free for all. Whoever wants to answer, because I want to be very cognizant of your time. If anybody's, I'm going to start with Brandon, right? Because Brandon hasn't talked as much, and then everybody else can just fill in. So the question that we've come to today is, how can you be a good dad and mistreat your mother?
Okay, I'm good. Shit. Can y'all hear me? I'm not hearing that. Everybody muted. That's why. Okay. How can he be a good dad and mistreat their mother? Okay. Well, the first thing that comes to mind for me is the relationship that a dad has with their kid is not. It's not the same as a relationship that they would have with the mom. Damn, I hate the fact that it's like the mistreating their mom. I mean, I'm speaking completely anecdotal here, but I feel like we've seen and I've heard many different stories of just like a dad, mom and dad fighting all the damn time, yelling, kicking, and screaming, just having like a very tumultuous relationship. But the relationship that the dad has with the kid is is good. And that being said, I can't imagine the relationship with the kid will always remain good as they grow up and see that their dad is mistreating their mom, and that's going to be a whole problem right there. I would imagine, but at this point in time, I can't see how, at least on the long term, how he can be a good dad and mistreat their mom. At some point, they're gonna clash. It's gonna come butt heads.
Okay.
So one thing I have seen is I've seen men really love their families, right, and love their children, and be terrible husbands, but not necessarily like abusive ones. Just uh, less of a man than they should be. You know what I mean? When some men are just in marriages, they stick for the children, right? So if you look at that relationship, he does everything he can for the children. Maybe he's the coach. Maybe he's always spending time with the child, but when it comes to his wife or his woman, she don't get any dates, she don't get any appreciation. I got one of my guys that's on the pod with me. He used to get his daughter better gifts on Valentine's Day than he did his own wife. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like it was just one of those things where, like, when I'm just here to keep my family together and I'm here for the children, I could come a very low level um husband, you know what I'm saying, where I'm just doing the bare minimum just to keep this relationship going, to keep the marriage going for the sake of the child, and I can still be in my child's life. And I might be scared of the rhetoric that's out there, like, oh, I'm gonna lose in the system. I'm not gonna be able to have full support, or she's gonna get me for child support, or you know what I'm saying. I won't be able, I'll be a weekend dad. So guys fear that too, so they won't leave to keep that connection with their children. You know what I'm saying? So that's a way that I see like a dude could be a good dad, but still be a terrible, terrible to the mother, is by completely neglecting the whole, the rest of the situation just for their child, and deprive the wife of her needs. He pays the bills or whatever, but like I said, there's no dates, there's no intimacy, there's none of that thing she needs to keep going. But even still, I think that's abuse, because a real parent knows that you need that other side to be fully functional, to give the kid the best options available. You know what I'm saying? If you want to make your child really well rounded, so if he's really about his child, he would, cover all fronts. But so that's my piece.
I kind of look at it like the pie chart method, in my opinion. The way a dad could be good and mistreat the mom is if he's great at everything else. Just like me taking a test. If it's 10 questions and I miss one, do I pass it? Sure, I do. Just like if you have a dad who's treating the mama extremely well, treating the kid well, showing up to everything for events, all type of stuff, but he broke. He can't necessarily provide. They live in situation is unstable, but he, in the situations that whatever they in, the motel or the whatever they staying at, auntie house or whatever, he's spending a lot of time with the kid. He helping the kid with his homework. He's showing up to football practice. He at the PTA meetings. He doing all that. He taking care of the mama. He valuing her and setting a good example and all these things. But he can't provide financially, right? So again, I think it's a cumulative thing if we're gonna speak about it that way. Now, what I will say is that you can't be a great dad. You can be a good dad because the example you set is so important in terms of how your kids are gonna move when they leave that house, right? So whereas again, if you mistreating the mom, if you cussing her out, whatever. And again, mistreating is a shaky word if we're gonna keep it real here. Because it's so much nuance that can kind of that kind of goes into that. But we just gonna attack it for face value. We're not gonna really
I'll
break it
go with the
down.
word disrespectful.
Disrespect. Okay, yeah. So okay, yeah. So that right there is way more flush of a definition. So yeah, because the example that you set for your kids is so important and it's so indicative of how they're gonna move when they leave. You can't be a great dad if you're disrespecting their mom. You can be a good dad because, like I said, it's a cumulative thing. As far as great, no. So that's how I see it. Again, every parent is lacking something. But again, different things are kind of weighted differently, and I think that's what gives this question credence and makes this question a kind of debatable situation, and it kind of depends on the person in terms of the weight of these things. So yeah, that's my answer to that one. Cumulatively, you can still be a good dad if you are mistreating the mom. Yes.
Okay. Who got next?
I'll go next.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So the question says, how can he be a good dad and mistreat the mother? So you didn't say man, you said he. So in my mind, he is has nothing to do with being a good man. I would say a good man is not capable of being considered a man if he's lacking character and integrity, which means that he wouldn't disrespect or mistreat his child's mother as a man. But as a dad, I would use myself as an example because I talked about, on Father's Day, that my dad was my first love, but he was also a heroin addict. So, according to society standards, that probably wouldn't make sense. But because of how I've evolved as a person, I see how necessary that was. I wasn't there when he was abusing my mother or all of the things that I heard that he did. So that wasn't my experience with him. And because of my own evolution and consciousness, I would say, like I described him as perfect. That sounds like an oxymoron, but he was perfect for me because I wouldn't have learned everything I learned had he not been my dad, despite everything that was wrong with him, according to society standards. So I would say he could be a great dad and mistreat the mother on one hand, but I don't know if he could be a great man and mistreat the mother.
Okay. Who got next?
I'll go next. Everybody's viewpoint has been really interesting, and I love hearing all of this because yeah. My dad died when I was like 2, so my mom never remarried, so it's just been me and her. So it's still once again, it's really hard for me to answer, but seeing other people's experiences, it is possible. Like Trill said, it's kind of like a cumulative, and I think Prototype said it too. It's kind of like a cumulative thing. Um, he can excel in a whole lot of other areas and not excel in that area. I feel like as long as the children aren't exposed to that, which is a slippery slope, like Brandon said, eventually those things are gonna it's gonna come to a head. You know, kids see and hear a lot of things that we think they don't. So just because you think they don't see or they don't hear or they don't understand because they can't, readily express it back to you, they do. So it is a slippery slope, but it is possible. But like Dia said, he can be a good father, but he may be a terrible man if he's, mistreating the mother of his children. The woman that, while he may not, be on good terms with her, regardless, if he loves his children, they are only here because of her. So
And I also think, just real quick, him being honest with the kids and putting that disclaimer out there could I don't want to say fix that, but can earn them some more points in a sense of, hey, this not how you move. I'm messed up. Whatever the case may be, how I'm treating your mom, that is not it. I would love to do better, but for whatever reason, I'm not. But I just want you to know this is not how a man is supposed to treat a woman. So I think if you honest with them and you give them that game, then it can kind of cushion that a little bit. But again, most people don't have that type of conversation. They just move and do what they do. The kids see it and they thinking, okay, well, if my daddy doing that, it must be right. All right. So when they go out in the world and they kind of emulate it. But I think, we as kids, me as parents, we gotta be a bit more honest.
So, who got next?
Oh man, how can
Mr. Wife Beater?
Good dad. What you say?
I mean, you got on the wife beater, so.
Oh no, that's only on Tuesdays.
Oh, my bad.
it's not your Tuesday. Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Oh man. I'll say it like this. I'll use my beloved brother on this one. So, love my brother to death, right? And what I see is he did mistreat the mothers of his kids. I remember actually getting in a fight with him. Actually, like wanting to get fist fight because of the treatment and way. But then again, some of the things that she did as well was fairly interesting, and some of the things that she did in order to impact the kids was fairly interesting as well. So everybody's coming into a relationship broken. As much as a whole as we want to be broken, right? So I think the kids are one of the ones that knows us quite well because they sit back and they observe. So they're going to formulate their own perspective. Like if you have the deadbeat dad, right? The mom might think he's deadbeat, but to the child, oh, he's everything, right? And that's something that might baffle the mom's mind. Like, he don't even do nothing for you. He don't know. But there's still that love, and that can be an irritant. So I'm speaking from the perspective where in some instances, as for that mistreatment, if you're not married, because let me go back and read. Nope, doesn't say anything about married. Mistreat their mother. Yeah, they didn't say nothing about them being married. So even in that standpoint, if they're married, that's a whole different ball game, right? If they're not married, that's rough as well. But it's not the same as if they're married, because there's a higher expectation at that point when marriage is involved. But as for mistreatment, just like y'all saying, as for respect, that's tough. If you don't respect what the mother is doing, because not all mothers are good mothers. I'll put it like that. Not all dad or fathers are good fathers. If you put it on that same spectrum of good, better, best, like good is at the bottom, right? Like there's always things that just because you're present makes you a better dad or a good dad compared to the father that's not present, even as whatever baggage you got with you. So for me, the best way to be a good dad is, first of all, I would say you can't mistreat the mother because they will see that. But as for that mistreatment, if the mother is putting themselves out there, like let's go, the mother's a hoe. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's circle back to what we were talking about earlier, right? You can't respect that. You can't respect that. Okay. The woman out there, the college chick out there stripping for her college tuition. For those people that respect that, hey, good luck to you. But you just can't. I can't respect that. I can't respect a hoe in that standpoint. So from I don't know. I'm struggling with that one because you should, but then it's difficult. It's just difficult. Okay. So as for going about, it's how I'm going to interact with the child. So I'll say this one last thing. Whenever parents bicker about the other parent to the child, that in itself is a disrespect to the child and the other parent. So just belittling and bringing them down, like you can shoot it straight, shoot it how it is, right? But then sometimes we do a little bit more, a little bit extra in order to bring that person down. And then we have to question our own hearts and our own motives. And your child is going to do the same thing because they're watching.
That's what's up. That's why I thought it would be a very challenging question. But I was looking for answers because, I mean, if we're saying that the way that the learning takes place is how the dad is treating the mother, that's how he or she learns to be a good. That's how a son will learn how to be a good dad, and that's how a girl sees how she should be treated by a man, right? If he's supposed to be the example, and the example is basically him and the mother, then I'm like, how is he going to be a good dad if he is supposed to be the example in that particular regard? And what you all said was that then he would need to only show his affection and his love towards that child, and that child can never see that interaction between their mom if it's something that is of toxic or disrespect. That's what it sounds like. So been real good conversation, man. I really appreciate you all this evening. Before we go, let people know where they can find you at. I mean, the two people that went ghosting like they didn't know that we was gonna be done. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So we'll start with Prototype. Where can they find you, bro?
Man, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, any platform, Spotify, on Prototype Dad podcast, man. Look us up Tuesday night. We go live, so come holler at us.
That's a bet. Deal. What you got?
You can find me on IG at A Rose from Rubble. My podcast is coming soon, so I'll let y'all know there.
That's a bet. Brandon, appreciate you for coming, man. What you got? How can they find you?
Yeah, you can find us on IG and TikTok at the Buffet Pod, and you can find us on YouTube as well. We got the podcast drop every week, so check us out, man.
And Trill AC, I don't think you really need no introduction, but listen, bro. I mean, you semi-famous, bro. Okay.
Oh my God, man!
Listen, I'm gonna give you your accolade. I told you, Trill. I'm gonna give you your accolades. Okay. So just appreciate it. Just say thank you and move on.
Appreciate you, G. Thank you, man. Man. Crew season everywhere, man. That's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all streaming platforms. Podcasts drop every Tuesday. Yeah, man. Subscribe to us. Rock with us, man. If you ain't already. Humble Dad, I appreciate you having me. You already know that, G. Love.
Already, homie. Jennifer, where can they find you? Are you paused? Jennifer, what can people reach out to?
I don't know if y'all can hear me because my audio is acting
we can hear you.
But
yeah,
you can hear me? Okay, yay, good. You can find me on IG at Curls Arlise, CurlzArlise.
That's a bet. And Dwayne, what can they find you when you're not wearing your wife beater? Okay.
On Tuesdays, DwayneJonesPhotography.com. Not on social media, though.
That's a fact. All right. Well, it's been real. It's been good. You can find me here, obviously, on YouTube and Instagram. And as well, if you need to check out more things that we got going on, it's humbledad.life. And then me and my wife, we started a podcast together where we just going to document our life as well as bring y'all some of the conversations we be having. There's some jewels. Oh, shout out. I don't know who else has other things, but Trey, I did check out the Champagne Wives. Is it Champagne Wives? You need to get that plug too, bro.
Yeah, man. Salute to the Champagne Wives, man. They are doing their thing. You know, we collab with them sometime last year, and then there was our turn to return the favor this time, man. But hella fire content. I think it's the latest video on their page, if I'm not mistaken. They put out part 2 today, so I mean, dope conversation, man. We in there talking that fly shit. So if y'all ain't checked it out, pull up, check it out, man. It's great dialogue.
That's a bet. Until next time, we out here. Deuces.
The boy is dangerous.
You don't seem to understand something.
The thing that I like most about being a dad is that I see them about to impact the world.